Coach, hard to put that ending to words in many ways. Obviously, going down 6 runs into the bottom of the ninth inning, the second time this season you've come back from a major deficit against this Rebels team. How motivating is it to end the regular season not only with a 6-game winning streak, but also with how you guys were just able to come back tonight?
I think that game kind of sums up our season, in a lot of ways, where it wasn't pretty, but the guys kept battling and they came out victorious in the end, which is pretty special. We just kind of talked to them for a minute in there, the emotional highs and lows, in sports that they deal you at times. But this is one of those emotional highs that you can't get anywhere else, unless it's on the athletic field. And to cherish it, savor it, and just like when it looks like you're dead in the water, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had my doubts early in that game too. But guys just keep battling, putting one at bat together after the next, and doing their job. And all of a sudden, you got the time running the plate, and things start happening, and you end up winning it. And it's that kind of elation and excitement and happiness that you get only from athletic competition is, those type of things are what sports and competition's about. So just very proud of the way they kept battling and fighting. And again, today was far from pretty in every which way of the word, but at the end of the day, these guys kept battling and they came out on top. So that part of it's pretty special.
The strong possibility of possibly ASU players winning the last 3 Pac-12 Player of the Weeks ever. Obviously, Nick McClain the last 2 weeks, and then Tobias 17 RBIs this week with obviously the walk-off today. What can you necessarily say about what you saw from him this week, and really just from really the lineup as a whole as they now enter the Pac-12 tournament and now try to carry this momentum, and where obviously every game is a must-win now going forward?
That's tremendous on Toby's part. Shoot, Campy's got to be up there too. I don't know if he's made an out this weekend.
The last one.
Cade Higgins made a tremendous play. I thought we were winning it right there, but Davey made a great play in right field on that ball. But Campy's been hot too. But Toby's run production, a lot of those are driving Campy in because he's been on base so much. But all the bats, top to bottom, are just swinging really well right now. So it's at the time we need it most. We need those guys to keep carrying us right now. We haven't been pitching it very good as of the past week or so, which I'm confident we'll get better. We're going to need to get better if we're going to make a run in this tournament. So, but as long as the bats keep doing what they're doing, we're never out of a game.
And so for someone like Williams, starts off the year as the leadoff hitter, then loses some playing time because of Vu's emergence and just all the good bats that you have. And now for him to start on senior night and to have the performance he did, have that double in the ninth, can you just talk about not just this game, but macro sense, the whole season for Williams, and what this really means for him to have come through in this game?
Well, I think it's a number of things. Obviously, Harris has contributed one way or another all year long and done a great job. His attitude's always been phenomenal. Like I said, started the year as our leadoff hitter, and I knew we were going to have good players that weren't going to play some days, and maybe for stretches of time. And I credit him, and Lance, those type of guys that just want to be playing every day. But hey man, we have guys that are swinging the bats really well, and sometimes it's tough to find spots for those guys. But Harris has continued to stay ready, and I'm trying to mix him in and keep him sharp. And he came through in a huge way on senior night and the last night tonight, and last regular season, his game of his career, which was a special night for him. So can't say enough about him and his attitude, and all these guys really. Just the seniors have been outstanding with their leadership in there and how they've carried themselves, especially this last month.
You guys probably might not be aware of this because of all of the noise, obviously, we've had throughout this game, but obviously Arizona winning the Pac-12 tonight, being able to claim the number 1 seed, meaning that your pool will be Oregon State and Stanford, 2 teams that you had very different results against this season. What necessarily are the expectations for, obviously you mentioned what the pitching possibly could line up, but what are the expectations of just how to approach those 2 opponents, considering you had very different results against them, both on the road?
We're just going to play the best we can, just like we have the last month or so. And I have a hard time. We're hot right now. We're playing well. Anybody that's been watching us knows that, and the table's set for us. So we go continue to play the way we've been playing, then I'll take our chances against anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. I have confidence in our team and our guys. We'll start with Stanford, and that's the game that we're focused on right now. We got to win. Obviously, we know what situation we're in. We got to win, right? So, that's first things first. We'll play against them and hopefully put our best foot forward and do what we can against them, and then we'll worry about the next one after that.
What needs to improve with the pitching specifically? You mentioned that it's just been necessarily off the last couple of weeks. What's going to have to change in order for you to maybe not depend on your offense to score 13, 14, 15 runs like it seems like it has literally every day almost nearly for the last 2.5 weeks?
Strikes. Go the ball to play. Right. We're better than that. Right? They know that. I know that. Sammy knows that. Everybody knows that. We can't walk 12 guys and expect to win. That's ridiculous. We're better than that. I don't want to put a wet towel on an exciting night, but pitching staff is better than that. They know it, and I don't. Brock Eddy hasn't pitched in 3 months, and he comes in and he's pounding the strike zone. Like they're capable of doing that. To me, there's no excuse for walking myself or Sammy or anybody else that's that young man staying mentally sharp, and that's awful tough to do. And I get it. He's probably as frustrated as anybody in that clubhouse. And the guys that haven't pitched are probably frustrated, and rightfully so at some point in time. Because I wouldn't want them to not be frustrated. I want them to be competitive and want to pitch, but and want to play. And for these guys to have said it all along, there's 37 alpha males in there that want to play, and that's great. I'm glad. It's my job to try to put guys in where I think they're going to help us win, and I'm not always right. Sometimes when a young man has a rough outing early on, and I stick him in the cooler and don't use him for 2.5 months, hey, I could turn and point the finger at me why I haven't been using him earlier. But those things work themselves out, and all you can do is stay ready. And that's one thing I have preached to these guys, not just him, but everybody: stay ready for your opportunity. You never know when it's coming. So again, I'm not giving credit to anybody except for that young man for staying mentally into it and staying ready and wanting the ball. And I'm like, hey, let's give him a shot. Maybe he can throw it over the plate, and he did. And punched out 3 guys in 2 innings and threw the heck out of it. So, hey, you never know. Maybe we found another arm for this tournament stretch run.
You need 4 more wins to win the Pac-12. You only need to worry about 1. Do you believe any pitching staff in this conference can compete with your offense and what they're doing right now?
I'm not gonna start that fire to where I'm not gonna sit and say that no one can shut us down. That's not the case. But I like the way we're swinging the bats right now. I'll put our offense up against anybody. But there's some good arms in our conference, and we're gonna see them, no doubt about it. So we're gonna have to come with it and be ready to play and stay locked in. We're facing a good arm on Tuesday. Kid's a freshman, but he's got a very good changeup, and we know what he's capable of doing. He's carved up some pretty good lineups. So, but again, I got confidence in our guys right now. Probably is, I got confidence in this lineup probably more than anybody in the country right now. So, which can't fault me the way they've been swinging the bats lately. I take my chances with our guys right now.
Coach, the last Pac-12 regular season game at Munich ever. How big of an impact is it that you come into the Pac-12 tournament on a 6-game winning streak instead of losing that last game here?
Well, I think it's important in a lot of ways. One, obviously the situation we're in, every win matters. 2, to obviously remind our guys you're never out of the fight. regardless if you're down 5 in the ninth, you can still win the thing. Baseball is a crazy game, and having that emotional high, continuing to go into this tournament after you say 5 or 6 straight wins. I don't know what it is, but that's certainly better than the alternative. So we're going to continue feeling good about ourselves and going to this tournament with momentum. So we're going to need everything at our disposal to pull this thing off. So I believe we can do it, but we're going to have to play well and use all the emotional stuff and all that stuff to our advantage.
32 wins this season, ties just as many as you had in your first year here 2 years ago. What necessarily is different about this year and all of the ups and downs in comparison maybe to the last 2 years that you've been in this program?
I think it's a stark contrast of last year where we got off to such a hot start and then faded down the stretch. This year we were bruised and battered early on and took our lumps early on. Our win-loss record was not pretty early on, but we finished hot. So I'll take this type of season where we're going into the end of the year on a high note, going into tournament play and climbing. Every day we're chalking up wins and hopefully making a case for ourselves, not only in this tournament but hopefully beyond.
What are the differences from last year's squad to this year's squad, where you have last year, like you said, a little bit of a decline to where you missed the tournament, where now you're inclining and making a push? Like, what do you see from the difference in how they've been able to elevate a lot of the same guys, especially in the lineup, being able to change that narrative and really make a push for the postseason?
I think the lineup depth plays a big factor. Last year we ran out guys pretty much every day and rode them until they broke, a lot of them. And this year we are able to mix some other guys in there, Harris Williams and Mac, who just walked in, isn't missed the first handful of games in this year. So I mean we have guys that didn't have to play every single day, and we have depth where we're able to give a guy a breather here and now or mental reset here and there if we need to. So having that depth is important, and then keeping our guys healthy and fresh. I think I've learned a little bit on when to just hit in the cages or have a lighter practice, where in the past I've always kind of been push harder, and fight through it, where that's not always the answer. And my personality is, I don't know, you can ask the players, but I've tried to pull the throttle back this last month or so and not be as intense the last few games aside. I think I might have blew a fuse or two the last couple of games at one point or another. But other than that, trying to kind of pull the throttle back and just let them relax and play seems to have helped.
After today's performance on the mound, does that sort of change how you might use the lineup card depending on how far you get in the tournament?
Use the
pitchers.
Use the pitchers. Well, I mean, obviously I'd be lying if I sat here and said there wasn't a little concern with the amount of free passes that we've been putting up lately, but at this point we're going with the guys that got us here. So give them another opportunity, and hopefully this is just a little speed bump here at the end and they'll reset mentally and get back on it next week. So that's when we need them to be their best.
And just to confirm, Marco still for Tuesday and Jacob still for Wednesday. That's still at least the outlook going forward?
I believe we're off Wednesday.
Thursday. Sorry, Thursday. So Jacob's for Thursday.
We line that up so we'd have a full week of rest for Jacob. So, but yeah, Connor Marco will throw on Tuesday, and we'll use whatever we got to do to get through that game with a win, and then for all intents and purposes, Benny will start on Thursday.